everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 3 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 3 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find the list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter multiplication. The lessons we're going to cover today are multiplication by a multiple of 10, multiply by a multiple of 10, multiplication patterns over increasing place values, multiply numbers ending in zeros, and multiplication word problems. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. So here I'm on grade 3 math. The chapter right now is multiplication. Let's just start with the lesson that is multiply by a multiple of 10. Seven times 70. So we have to multiply the non-zero part of the numbers. So just multiply the non-zero numbers that are 7 times 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. So then we have to add the zero. We have 1 0. 7 times 7 is 49. That is 490. 490 it is. Let's just start with the test questions. One times 80. So adding our multiply by 1 is 80. 80 times 1 is 80. Option number 3 is the correct option. Eighty times 1 is 80. Option number 3 is the correct option. Eighty-eight times 10. 8 times 10 is 80. Option number 1 is the correct option. 10 times 8 is 80. Option number 1 is the correct option. Seven times 50. So you have to multiply the non-zero numbers, right? You have to do 7 times 5, and we know that 7 times 5 is 35. So we just have a one number with 50. You can then add a zero as it, so that is 7 times 50 is 350 number. What is the correct option? 7 times 20. So just multiply the non-zero values that are 7 times 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. So then we have to add a 0. So that is 140. Option number 1 is the correct option. 7 times 20 is 140. Option 1 is the correct option. So 5 times 40, which is the correct option. Very good. 200, it is option number 3 is the correct option. 5 times 4 is 20. That is 200. Option 2 is the correct option. 7 times 80, which is the correct option. 7 times 8 is 56. Then you have to add the 0. So that is 560. Option number 1 is the correct option. Three times 20. So which is the correct option? Three times 20 is very good. 68 is option number 2 is the correct option. 3 times 80. So which is the correct option? Three times 8 is 24. So that is 240. Option number 1 is the correct option. Five times 10, which is the correct option. Five times 10 is 50. Option number 1 is the correct option. Seven times 70, which is the correct option. That is 490. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. Multiplication patterns over increasing place values. Let's just start with the next lesson. Complete the pattern. So the missing number times 3 equals 21. You need to find what number times 3 is 21. 7 times 3 is 21. Now we need to find what number times 30 is 210. So basically the number of zeros are missing. So you have to see, here you have 30, here you have 10, and here you have 10, right? So that means the number is again 7. 7 times 30 is 210. Now what number times 300 equals 2100? So here you have two zeros and here you have two zeros. So that is all 7. 7 times 300 is 2100. 7 times 3000 is 21,000. Let's just start with the test questions. Complete the pattern. So missing number times 6 equals 12. Which number is it? That is 2 times 6 is 12. Now we have 6 here. All the numbers are 6. Just look at the number of zeros over here. So that is 6 times 20 because here you have 10. So one of the number must have 10. So 6 times 20 is 120. Six times 200 is 1200 and 6 times 2000 is 12,000. The number 1 is the correct option. That is 220, 200 and 2000. Option number 1 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. So which is the five times 1 is 5, 50 times 1 is 50, 500 times 1 is 5,000, and 5,000 times 1 is 5,000. Option number 2 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. 2 times the missing number is 6. 20 times missing number is 60. 200 times the missing number is 600. Two times 3 is 6. 20 times 3 is 60. 200 times 3 is 600 and 2000 times 3 is 6,000. Option number 2 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 60 is 180. 3 times 100 is 1800. And 3 times 6000 is 18,000. So option number 2 is the correct option. 18, 180, 1800, and 18,000. Option number 2 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. 6 times 7, 60 times 7, 600 times 7, and 6,000 times 7. So 6 times 7 is 42. 60 times 7 is 420. And 600 times 7 is 4,200. And 6,000 times 7 is 42,000. So option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 40, 420, 4,200, and 42,000. Option number 1 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. 1 times 1, 10 times 1, 100 times 1, and 1,000 times 1. So which is the correct option? 1 times 1 is 1, 10 times 1 is 10, 100 times 1 is 100, and 1,000 times 1 is 1,000. Option number 1 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. Six times 4 is 24, 60 times 4 is 240, 600 times 4 is 2,400, and 6,000 times 4 is 24,000. So option number 2 is the correct option. Complete the pattern. So which number is it? Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 220, 200, and 2,000. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is multiply numbers ending in zeros. 50 times 4. So we have to multiply the non-zero values. We have multiplied to 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20, and we have only one zero with 50, so you can just add a zero. So 4 times 50 is 200. The correct option is 200. Let's just start with the test questions. Multiply 600 times 3. So how do you multiply? We multiply the non-zero values. You can see here we have 200 with 6, the two zeros with 6. So let's just multiply the non-zero values only 3 times 6. That is 18. And then at the end, you need to add those two zeros over here. So that means 3 times 600 equals 1800. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is option number 1. So 600 times 3 is 1800. Eight hundred times 7 equals, so just multiply 8 times 7. 8 times 7 is 56. And we have two zeros with 8. So you need to add two zeros over here. 800 times 7 is 5600. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 5600. Thirty times 7. 7 times 3 is 21. And then we have to add a zero, so that is 210. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 210. Very good. Option number 1 is the correct option. Four hundred times 3 equal, 3 times 4 is 12. That is 1200. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. Thirty times 4. So which is the correct option? Four times 3 is That is 120. Option number 1 is the correct option. Fifty times 8. So which is the correct option? Very good. That is 400. Option number 2 is the correct option. 20 times 6. So which is the correct option? That is 120. Option number 1 is the correct option. Ten times 9. Ten times 9 is 90. Option number 2 is the correct option. Very good. Three hundred times 9, which is the correct option? 9 times 3 is 27. And then you need to add two zeros. So that is 2700. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is 2700. Ninety times 6, which is the correct option? 9 times 6 is 54. So that is 540. Option number 2 is the correct option. Seventy times 3. So which is the correct option? That is 210. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is multiplication word problems. Jason bought 3 boxes of chocolates. There were 2 chocolates in each box. How many chocolates did Jason buy? So 3 times 2 equals 6. Let's just start with the test questions. A summer camp has 4 cabins and 4 campers can sleep in each cabin. So how many campers can the cabins hold? So we have the total 4 cabins and in each cabin 4 campers can sleep. So we can find the total campers by 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 4 times 4 equals 16. Option number 3 is the correct option. Troy filled 5 plates with cookies. He put 5 cookies on each plate. How many cookies did Troy use? So which is the correct option? Five times five. So which is the correct option? That is 25. Option number 1 is the correct option. Brad had 5 apples. He cut each apple into 4 slices. How many apple slices did Brad make? So which is the correct option? So 5 times 4 equals 5 times 4 equals 20. Option number 4 is the correct option. That is 20. A bagel factory produced 4 bags of bagels. There were 2 bagels in each bag. How many bagels did the factory produce? So which is the correct option? 4 times 2. So which is the correct option? 2 times 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 8. Kristen bought four giant cookies, each of which cost $5. How much money did Christine spend? So, which is the correct option? That is 4 times 5. So, 4 times 5 is 20. The last option is the correct option. A pet store has four tanks of fish. There are three fish in each tank. How many fish does the pet store have in all? So, which is the correct option? That is 3 times 4 equals 12. Option number 3 is the correct option. Jason bought 3 boxes of chocolate. There were two chocolates in each box. How many chocolates did Jason buy? So, which is the correct option? That is 2 times 3 equals 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. Annie did 3 sets of push ups. She did 4 push ups in each set. How many push ups did Ali do in total? So, which is the correct option? That is 3 times 4 equals 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So, we were working on grade 3 math. The chapter we were working on is multiplication. The lessons we have covered today are multiply by a multiple of 10, multiplication patterns over increasing place values, multiply numbers ending in zeros, and multiplication word problems. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write down the question in the chat box